So, good morning and welcome to the official presentation of the Local and Regional Times Agendas Volume 3 and 4. I am Lia Varrese and I'm from the Time Use Initiative. I'm happy to be your moderator for today's session. Before we start with this great session we have ahead, I will quickly hand over to Marta Junquet, who is the Secretary of the Local and Regional Governments Time Network, who is going to give us some introductory words. Marta, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Leah. Good morning, everybody. And thank you to all the participants that are joining to this conference over the world. Today, we have people from India, Japan, Dubai, and especially from cities and regions around Europe and Latin America. Welcome, everybody. It shows how time policies are getting every time more interest around the world and are becoming more global. As a director of the Time Use Initiative and General Secretary of the Local and Regional Governments Time Network, I would like to do this introduction by answering three questions that maybe you have. First of all, what is a Local and Regional Governments Time Network? Then, what is the local and regional government's agenda? And third, why did we choose the topics of time and democracy and time and night policies? So I will go through these questions. The first one, what is the local and regional time agenda? This is a unique and pioneer compiling of time policies that are being implemented by the local and regional authorities around the world. It provides a compendium of time policies by topic and also practical recommendations on how to implement them. So you can implement in your region, in your city. This agenda is found by the European Commission through the project Time for All, and it is organized by the Local and Regional Governments Time Network. And this brings me to the second question. What is this network? To do so, I will show you the brochure of the network on the screen. So let me share the screen and make sure that all of you are seeing the same information that I do. Very good. This is let me make sure that you can see it perfectly at the moment. Can you? I think so. Fantastic. So this is the local and regional governments time network. This is a unique international network of cities and regions that promote and implement time policies and promote the right to time. Why we do that? Because we all have 24 hours per day. However, time is an extremely unequal resource in society, and time poverty exists in various forms in all the countries and regions. Although time poverty affects more women, migrants, and youth, what it's clear is currently the vast majority of citizens have the need of finding a new balance of the time organization that can bring a better balance between pay work, care of ourselves and others, enjoy the free time and rest. We need to find a better balance because for sure that a lot of people that it's under stress, is burnout and say, I don't have time for myself. So this brings that citizens, cities and regions, we must work together for a better balanced organization of time. As a solution of that, time policies are a tool designed to orientate, to modify and improve this current social organization of time. The time policies, starting in Europe around 20 years ago, but they are at the moment, they are being implemented in different cities and countries around the world. Since 2020, In a context with multiple crises, a second generation of time policies have emerged as a solution for the current and social economic problems around the world. Time policies, then, are a powerful instrument to reduce inequalities, to rethink the future of work, to reduce the time spent on mobility and increase the sustainability of our cities, regions, and metropolis, and also to promote healthy habits of living and improve the democracy. That's why time policies are important. In the network, we are almost 50 members, 50 cities, metropolis and regions around the world, including Barcelona, Strasbourg, Milano, Bogota, Buenos Aires, Bergamo, Catalonian region, Graz, and many others. What we do in the network? We we do capacity building, offering learning opportunities to learn on what are time policies and how to implement. We present the local and regional time agenda, as we are doing today. And Leah was saying this is the third and the fourth chapter of this local and regional agenda. We do organize networking events, and every year we have appoint a world capital of time policies, which currently it's being Strasbourg. To finalize this introduction to the network, I just want to say that to join to the network is easy and free. And I invite to all the municipalities that are following us today, municipalities, metropolis, and regions, to join to the network and become an important stakeholder on implementing time policies. This is the introduction to the network that I wanted to share with you. And now I'm going to explain you very briefly to finalize. I'm going to explain you why we choose these two topics, the topics of time and democracy and the topics of time and night. First of all, we are showing them because they are challenges that currently all cities and regions are facing. That is this relationship between democracy, how to strengthen democracy, and also how to improve the night experience of our citizens, how to find a balance between resting, enjoying, and working. That's why we put these topics in the agenda, because we consider that time policies offer an angle, a solution, a holistic solution to these problems that are related to time, democracy, and participation, and night policies. Because of all of that, we are presenting today two publications. The Local and Regional Agenda 3, that is related to time and democracy, and the Local Agenda 4, that is related to time and night. You will find these presentations in the website, and also you should receive them by email. Right now, I'm going to share my screen again, and I'm going to walk you through the Local and Regional 3 agenda. This Local and Regional 3 time agenda, as I said, is focusing on time, participation, and democracy. Here you will have several practices from different municipalities that shows how to relate and how to strengthen democracy and participation through time policies. And today we will have the presentation of them by the municipality of Barcelona and the municipality of Milano. Here you will find all this information, as well as a preface and introduction by two experts, which are Antonella Balmorida, Secretary General of the European Association of Local Democracy, and Pedro Martínez Rey Araujo, researchers of the University of Santiago de Compostela. This is one of the agendas that we will find today, and the other one is the one regarding time policies, which now our colleagues are going to present in few minutes. That is the agenda of urban nighttime policies. Here you will find a compilation of 18 good practices that are good practices regarding the need of define a time chief officer for the night governments, as Trento and London have, and they will show today. the need of policies for an inclusive nighttime, and policies for night safety, and policies to respect the rest of the residents. All this information, colleagues, you will find it in the presentations that you will find today in your email and also in the website, Time Policies. So with all this information, I wish you a very successful and inspiring conference, and thank you again for joining us.
Thank you, Marta. As you were saying today, we will explore the intriguing intersection of time policies with democracy and the night. But before we dive in, let me quickly run through some housekeeping rules. First of all, we encourage people who are watching us in the YouTube channels to active participate through the YouTube chat, and feel free to add your comments and thoughts during our session. We will have a Q&A segment at the end of each part, so make sure to address the questions to the speakers then. And finally, this session will be recorded and later on shared on our website and YouTube channel for you don't to miss anything. So as you may know, the session is structured in two parts. During the first, we will discuss time and the night and count with some of the best practices showcased in volume 4 of the local and regional time agenda that Marta was just sharing with you. And on the second part, we will explore the issues of time and democracy. And this second part is expected to start at 11:45. So if you are interested in time and democracy good practices, please stay tuned. Now, let's move to the first part of today's event. In this segment, we will explore, as I was saying, the relationship between time and the night. And to do so, I am happy to introduce our speakers. It's a pleasure to welcome Julieta Cuneo, policy lead of the 24-hour London team from the Greater London Authority, Julia Cassonato, Executive Councillor for Sustainability, Innovation and Participation of the Trento City Council, and Marina Lafay, Councillor of the City of Strasbourg, which, as Marta was saying, is the current world capital of time policies. Julieta and Julia, I will start with you. My first question is, how can a city effectively plan and govern the night? Julieta, over to you first.
Do you want me to start with the presentation first and then we can get into the question? Perfect. Let me share my screen because that is a very big question. So hopefully we'll get there. Can you see that? Please let me shout otherwise. Right. So hello, everybody. Thank you so much for inviting me to be here today. My name is Julieta Cuneo. I am the policy lead at the London 24-hour team, as Leah said. And I'm going to give you a quick overview of the work we've done in City Hall over the past few years, followed by a very short lines on where we are now and where we're going next. And this is important because our mayor has now been confirmed for a third term exactly 2 days ago. So we're very excited what's coming. So our journey started in 2016 when, in his first year as a mayor, Sadiq Khan appointed Amy Lamé, who many of you may know or have heard of, as London and the UK's first ever night czar. The following year, the mayor also published his vision for London as a 24-hour city and set up the Nighttime Commission, a group of representatives from the public and private sector tasked with creating a roadmap to make the vision a reality. Julieta, these people very quickly realized...
But you're not sharing the presentation.
It's not being shared?
No, no.
Sorry.
Sorry. No worries.
That's crazy, sorry. We did rehearse this, didn't we? Okay. Now. There. Well, you didn't miss much, so we were here.
Yes.
So 2016, Amy Lamé is appointed by the mayor. 2017, the mayor publishes his vision for a 24-hour city and sets up the commission, the London at Night Commission, which very quickly they realized they need evidence to support their work. So they commissioned some research and they published the London at Night Evidence Base, which is the first work of its type in comprehensive nighttime data for a city. The year after, in 2019, the Commission published a Think Night report with 10 recommendations for the mayor and the night czar to carry on. The report is very important for several things, not only because it set up the direction of travel of what we've been doing tonight, but also because it gives us a definition of the night. In London, we consider the night as broadly as we would the day. We use a wide lens, looking at the wealth of activities that happen from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. This concept of the wealth of activities is very important for us because, of course, we look into and care about and look after the traditional nighttime economy, leisure, entertainment, hospitality, and so on and so forth. But we also go way above that, beyond that. For us, it's about addressing the inequalities ingrained in the night. It's about making life better, safer, and fairer for night workers, night owls, residents, visitors, everybody who's out and about at night. It's about thinking the city in 24-hour terms, as opposed to the typical day versus night dichotomy, which, it's a common thing, as if there were two completely separate chunks of time when they're all part of the same day. So we take a holistic approach, and this holistic approach is one of the two things that sets London apart from other cities or from the journey other cities have been in so far. Although we're seeing more and more cities coming around to taking this holistic and wholesome approach to what happens after 5 or 6 p.m., depending on the place. This is the first thing. The other thing is London's shape and governance in itself. It is often said that London is a collection of villages, and this is 100% true. We are made of 32 local authorities and the City of London, which is a separate entity, and each one of them have financial and administrative independence. We are very much a federal city, so this means that decisions on housing, planning, licensing, leisure, education, waste management, and many more are all taken at the local level. In contrast, we, the City of London, the London government, have effectively very little powers. We are what's called a strategic authority. So our job and our duty is to set up the direction of travel, develop strategy, and publish guidance, which is exactly what we've been doing over the past 8 years. So, first of all, we've done a lot of work, and we still do, on changing the narrative. At some point, we decided to stop talking about the nighttime economy, and we started talking about the economy at night, which I feel is a much more inclusive term that encompasses all this wealth of activities I just mentioned. We created the Borough Champions Network, which is effectively a network of 33 mini night stars, one from each borough, that we meet with quite regularly. We disseminate knowledge and best practice. We regularly hold nighttime policy forums for borough officers. We produce a program of masterclasses for those of them looking into their nighttime strategies and policies. We foster innovation and experimentation. And when and if we can, we also fund this. So two important things we have funded are the nighttime enterprise zones, which were aimed to boosting and making more diverse and inclusive the evening and nighttime economy of the high streets. And we had amazing results. I'm very happy to share the reports that both footfall and spend after 6 p.m. went up about 50% on average across the three zones. And we also funded the business-friendly licensing initiative, which was aimed to make licensing easier and more accessible for businesses, venues, and boroughs as well. We have funded 8 projects to date, including one to improve management and the impact of noise complaints on venues. And that's having amazing results too. We can talk about that later. We also publish guidance and data. We publish guidance for boroughs to develop their own nighttime strategies. We refreshed that evidence base that was published in 2018 with 2023 data. And we work with colleagues from the GLA, from the High Streets Data Service, to produce and share data that is like timestamp for the evening and nighttime for boroughs to look into it and understand their local areas better. We are also out and about London a lot on night surgeries, which are night walks that boroughs take us in, and we talk to businesses, night workers, residents, community leaders, and so on and so forth. We have set up the Women's Night Safety Charter to make the evening and night more inclusive and inviting and safer for women and girls. And we also promote the Agent of Change principle, which protects existing venues and the cultural and community spaces at risk, which that's what it says in the name. We help spaces that are at risk by new developments, noise complaints, financial, etc. And of course, this is all the external stuff, but we also do a lot of internal working. Over all these years, we have knocked on our colleagues' doors to talk to them about different pieces of policies that would affect the 24-hour city. And I am very pleased to tell you that all this effort has now paid off, because as for the mayor's new term, which is now starting, 24-hour London is to move from being an office within the culture team into a cross-cutting principle for City Hall. This means, in practical terms, that we are already working on developing what we call the night test, which is a tool that This is going to help make it easier and straightforward and ensure that all of our colleagues in the building consider the impacts of their policymaking on the 24-hour city. So we are taking into consideration planning, regeneration, housing, transport, health, environment, etc., 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 which is all very exciting. We are now developing this. We expect to be ready to share it soon, so please stay tuned. And the last thing I'm going to say to conclude on a positive and hopeful note, in case of some of you need it, because some of you may be starting on this journey or maybe wondering how long it's going to take. So when I first started this job 3 years ago, we had no borough in London with a nighttime strategy. And most of them, frankly, were quite horrified by the mention of the word night because of all the preconceptions attached to it, all the misconceptions, etc. It is amazing for us to now to see that we have over a third of boroughs that have seen the light, as we like to say, because they either have published their nighttime strategies, are working on them, or in any case are incorporating elements of nighttime thinking into their local policymaking. So hopefully by the next time we see each other, this map will be all lit up. Thank you very much, and I look forward to your questions later. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Julieta, for your takes. I will highlight especially what you are mentioning about the holistic approach as a key to strategy to handle the night, the changing of the narrative, and the cross-cutting aspect of the night governance, which is quite the same as we talk about when we refer to time policies. Now, Julia, over to you. What about Trento? How do you handle the night?
Yes, good morning, and thank you for the invitation. I try to share also my screen. Okay. Can you see it? Is everything okay? I hope so.
Yes.
So great. So I try to answer your question by telling you why and how we started this journey in a way. First of all, I have to admit that Trento is not very famous in Italy for its nightlife. Trento is famous for its beautiful historic center, for its museums, for its mountains. But in recent years, the tension between different needs at night and the pressure on the city center at night has grown. So we had to start thinking about how to deal with this phenomenon. The cause of this increased tension has been blamed on the increased number of students enrolled in the University of Trento. But the truth is that there are much more structural reasons for this tension. So we had to start analyzing why these clashes happen. So we had to realize that we need to face, first of all, with the absence of suitable urban spaces for a vibrant nightlife to happen. Secondly, we had to face with a lack of private venues, but also a lack of a nighttime cultural offer. Then we had to face with the absence of scientific research, the lack of data about the phenomenon, but also the lack of a collective narrative that could help us overcome an obsolete conception of the night. And lastly, but most importantly, in my opinion, we had to face with the lack of a political debate about nighttime and also a lack of nighttime management. Therefore, we decided to start dealing with this phenomenon, and we decided to copy the experience of other European cities, and we decided to adopt the figure of the night mayor. In 2021, I was appointed as night mayor of the city of Trento, with the task of dealing with urban livability and nighttime sociality. I dealt with this issue for 2 years within the city council, and at the end of 2023, I became part of the city government itself, becoming an executive councillor also for this field. Through our policies, we want to pursue three main goals. The first goal is obviously to improve nighttime coexistence between people and between different needs. But also we want to try to address the need for a vibrant nightlife, and also we want to try to promote quality of life and to promote cohesion through nighttime policies. Through our work, we also try to define some main pillars that could guide our action. So we define nightlife as a place of growth, a place of expression, a place of hybridization, and a place of creation. Here I reported some examples of policies that we implemented. First of all, we decided to create a monitoring body composed of administrations, residents, venues, student representatives. So a monitoring body in which we could, that enable us to meet and to have a stable body to discuss together the phenomenon. We created some city workshops to discuss about the different values of the nightlife. So not only nightlife as a problem, but also as a time in which value, social, cultural, and economic value is created. We are experimenting a night bus in order to have public local transport active also at night. We worked on improving lighting, especially in parks, in order to improve the perception of safety in different areas. We worked on to create new events in parks with cultural activities, with music, with different people meeting, in order to show that alternatives are possible and that our new places can be built for people to meet. We collaborated with a city museum for the use of their spaces beyond their opening hours in order to push other institutions in the region to understand that they also need to address the need for a vibrant nightlife. We conducted 2 research projects with the University of Trento in order to better understand the phenomenon and to investigate what happened at night in Trento. We conducted an acoustic monitoring to understand the impact of nighttime noise in different areas of the city. We worked on enhancing the street cleaning services in the most frequented areas, and we created some events to discuss about especially women's safety and perception of safety at night. So here are some of the visible actions that we have carried out. Obviously, there are many other actions that we have done that are less visible but still important. To date, I cannot say that we have solved the problem, obviously, but I think we should understand these policies as a long journey that we started some years ago. It's long, but I think that it can really lead to what is a real cultural shift in our city. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Julia. I appreciate all your inputs as well. And I think we have here an example of Trento, how important is mutual learning for our local governments. So I think it's clear that we have a lot of too for cities aiming at governing the night. Marina, turning to you now, could you please tell us how can a city ensure a safe and inclusive nighttime and at the same time respect the neighbors?
Yes, that's a challenge, and I want to present to you how it works in Strasbourg with a project of the night action, but to renew the night policies in Strasbourg. So thank you for inviting me to present the Strasbourg night action. You know, of course, that Strasbourg is capital of Europe and in border with Germany, and Strasbourg has around 300,000 inhabitants, and metropolis area it's 1.5 million. And we are also a tourist town, of course, and it's makes sometimes a lot of people during the night in Strasbourg. But what is less well known is that we have huge inequalities in the city and a big problem of poverty. 1 in 4 Strasbourg residents are under the poverty line. We've been implementing temporal policies 15 years ago with 2 subjects, teleworking and the night. But work on the night was perhaps not as large a few years ago as it is today. In the past, the strategy was more to organize the night with nightlife businesses, for instance, bars, restaurants, and nightclubs who have authorization to sell alcohol. A charter was on the past drawn up with these partners, along with a shared mode of governance and regular meeting, and the purpose was mainly to avoid nuisances such as noise or drunken people on the public space. Now let's talk about the present and the new night policies in Strasbourg. The current municipality came to power 3 years ago at the same time as COVID, when many establishments were closed. And after this COVID crisis, we decided to rework the project with a more systemic and holistic vision. And it is also because Strasbourg is a municipality with a social and ecological vision, and also with the aim to rebirth the local democracy. Nightlife policies is currently led by 2 elected municipal councillors, Joël Stephen in charge of commerce and myself in charge of time policy. And together we wanted to implement a broader vision and public policy, thinking not just of night time in terms of drinking establishment and nuisances, but thinking the night that's party, the joyful night, the cultural night, the night that sleeps also, and the night that's work, the mobility during the night that takes transports, and so. So this is a systemic vision to think the night. Seems today self-evident, but 2 years ago it was totally revolutionary. We have also, of course, specialized departments and employees. So we began with the department that until now have been responsible for nightlife through alcohol permits and terrace rights for restaurants, for instance. And to deal with problem of nuisances, this department has always worked with the prevention department, which in turn works with our municipal and national policies. It's also very useful department because this department has a broad vision and knows the behavior aspect and the role of urban planning. And I would like to say also that in the same time, my colleague in charge of municipal police took the opportunity to respond to an European project called SHINE. SHINE, it's a project about prevention of sexual and sexist harassment during the night. And this work has been carried out with the nightlife community also. And I believe it was a very big help to start something new and more systemic. So it's also in this time that we decided to find experts to help us. And it is French consultant Culture Barbare who help us for 2 years now. And with them, we have made a diagnostic, including interview with a wide range of local people, all partners, nighttime exploratory walk also, and workshop with residents, association, city departments, and a lot of elected people, even the mayor. And today we are on the stage where the recommendations are coming, and we plan to work on 5 issues. So the first one was planning the city area to share the night better. For example, the challenge is like to urban planning, soundproofing, or for example, furniture or the layout of terrace. However, this is difficult in Strasbourg, which is an historic city with districts listed as national and world heritage sites. The second challenge is to be attentive for the diversity for uses. For a night of solidarity, we need to offer activities during the night for everyone, for all ages, for all tastes and income. For instance, one of the main challenges is to think about the night for children. Last year, Strasbourg has signed the United Nations Charter for a city adapted for children, forces us to think about our policy through the logic expressed by the children themselves. The third challenge is it's bringing together all public policies for peaceful night. It is a systemic vision combining behavioral and technical data and aspects. And the challenge, I can say it is very strong. For example, on lighting reduction, we're extending it today for many reasons, but we also come up against the feeling of insecurity that exists for women, for instance. But when we organized our work exploration, it wasn't very significant, less so than we have imagined. But it exists, and for a shared night out, we need to find solutions to reduce this feeling. For example, creating safe place zone in nighttime establishment, but also perhaps in nighttime public transport. The issue 4 is to reinforce tranquility and prevent and reduce risky behavior. And we have a lot of partners active for that, but we need to harmonize their work. And in the SHINE project I have mentioned, there is an important notion here. It's the idea of welcoming and supporting people who simply have the feeling that something isn't quite right, even if they are not sure. As a part of the SHINE project also, training courses were also held for nightlife operators to convince them to work with us. And the fifth challenge is imagine an evolving and functional framework. We want to create a participative and collective new team with representatives of residents, associations, students, and businesses. I can add something. It's not very easy to involve students because they have sometimes no time. It's not evident, but something we think about something very flexible and scalable that can be gradually that will gradually find its mode of operation. At present, the diagnosis is in place and the prescription have been written down. We have decided our priorities. We have to decide our priorities with the mayor and by looking at our resources and planning. And by the next autumn, our nighttime governance body should be up and running. So I also like to thank the contribution for about London and Trento with another form of governance, which also provides answer to shared issue. So thank you.
Thanks a lot, Marina. I think it's a huge challenge to have a night of leisure that also sleeps and also works. But that challenge, it's also, I think, shared by all of our speakers here. And I would just want to ask one more question to all of you, just a final key recommendations for other cities and for other colleagues who want and try to implement nighttime policies, or just 3 main suggestions that you could give to cities aiming at governing their night. Julieta, let's start with you again.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for the Trento and Strasbourg presentations. That was super interesting. It's really interesting always to hear from other cities. So I think for your question, yeah, first of all, I'd say I recommend any city who's not already looking into this to join the club, because this is such an important part of, the whole 24-hour cycle of city life. And I think in terms of suggestions, I would say that all cities should start by looking at night in the same way that they do the day. I know it sounds very simple, but it's not doesn't always work like that. So just go out there, see and understand what's happening, get the data, talk to the stakeholders, and forge the partnerships that are going to set the basis going forward. The other thing would be like, don't stop at or focus on just one aspect, or whether that's the nighttime economy, that what tends to be like, there's a lot more happening out there. So go out and see what's there. And pretty much in the same way that you wouldn't just focus on one aspect of the daytime to do daytime, if we will, policy making, right? So it's the same, take the same approach, that holistic and wholesome approach. There is a wealth of activities happening there, so just go out there and try to understand them well. Because ultimately, nighttime policies are not important just for the night, but for the development of the city as a whole. So yeah, I think that's it's an economic development, it's an urban development, it's a regeneration and revitalization project, not just the night. Thank you.
Thank you, Julieta. Julia, what key recommendations would you give to other audience?
Thank you. Yes, I think I have three main recommendations. The first one is the same that Julieta just shared, and it's triggered, but begin to think of nighttime as a time that needs to be managed just as we do during the day, because it's normal for clashes to happen if we don't actively deal with what's going on at night and we just try to prohibit things. The second recommendation is try to experiment new things, try to experiment new actions to show that an alternative is possible while planning what to do next. Because I think that planification is crucial, is essential, but it is important to experiment in the meantime, because in this way, other people, other institutions, other public bodies in your region can understand what you want to do and where you want to go, and can more easily follow you. My third recommendation is try to create a different narrative. Try to create a narrative that doesn't put the clash of needs at the center. Because on the contrary, I think that to address different needs that people have at night, sleep, to go out, to be happy, to socialize, etc., to address different needs, we can work on the same solutions. We are on the same side. So residents, venues, students, the administration, we are on the same side. So for example, identifying new areas for nightlife to happen, for people to meet, makes residents happy because there is less chaos concentrated in their area, but it can also make people active at night more happy, because you create a new space for a better offer. So I think these are my three recommendations for a city that is starting to think about how to deal with this phenomenon.
Thanks a lot, Julia. That's great. Marina, over to you now. What key three recommendations could you share?
Yeah, perhaps as elected people, if I had any advice to give, it would already be to say that the mayor must strongly support the subject of night, because to develop a systemic vision, it's not always simple. So it's very important to have the support of the mayor of the autonomous municipality, and so. And then also you can start with a specific action, even if it is a small scale, to get a team going, which has to be made up of people who are willing or who think with a systemic vision. In France, such people are very rare, but they do exist, and we have to work firstly with them, I think. And then after that, I think we can give ourselves the time with participatory democracy to restructure nighttime governance, but step by step, I think. So we can begin slowly, I think, at the beginning, and it's need time.
Yeah, definitely. That's why we are here trying to set these topics in the agenda. Thanks to the three of you for these insightful interventions in the in-betweens of the night and how to govern it. It's been great and super inspiring. I am afraid that we won't have time now for questions from the audience, but if anyone has something urgent and needs to write them in the chat, we will make sure that our speakers will receive the questions and be intermediaries in you to receive your answers. Also, in case you want to check more good practices, you can find them in our publication sections on our time use initiative web. There you will find the local and regional time agenda, volume 4, with more good practices on night governance. Julieta, Julia, Marina, thanks a lot for your time, and until next time.
Thank you.
Now, let's move to the second part of this session, and we will start exploring the nexus of time and democracy. Before that, again, a quickly reminder to the audience that you can participate in the chat, and we will make sure to send the question to our speakers, and hopefully we will have time for a Q&A section at the end now. Before I launch my first question and I present the great speakers with whom we're going to share the next roundtable, I will have the pleasure to kick off this second part with an inspiring keynote speech from Antonella Valmorvida, which is the Secretary General of ALDA, the European Association for Local Democracy, and who were also part of our publication. The video, please.
Hello, dear colleagues. Apologies for not being with you in Barcelona these days and for accepting a short video. And thank you for TUI for inviting me and to accept to host my paper in their recent publication. I think indeed the concept of quality of democracy is connected also to the way we are managing our time. Democracy nowadays is under threat also for a lack of understanding, a lack of understanding of its processes, and the lack of or the weak and weakened participation of citizens. I think that democracy needs both good laws, good institutions, but needs also participative and aware citizens. In our view, in ALDA, democracy is a two-way exercise where public institutions are engaging with active citizens. For us, public institutions and policies are not only delivering services where towards beneficiaries, but those citizens are part of the policies. So to us, improve democracy means deepen it and make sure that there is not only an aware vote, but there is a continuous process of participation. And this is what we call participative democracy. So to improve democracy nowadays and to make it more resilient, it's not only for citizens to sit back and relax, but it's a way for being part of the policies. So this is our commitment. ALDA does that with its members and partners more at the local level. And we think that participative democracy, local democracy seen from a community perspective, is a way to consolidate democracy. It's a way to be resilient against forces which are aggressing the concept or making it more relative, saying, yeah, we can be democratic or not democratic. It's the same because people will be happy anyway. And this is not the truth. I think that democracy should be nurtured, cherished, and accompanied with a constant process of participation. Otherwise, citizens will feel alienated from the democratic process. And of course, as I often say, if you don't take the space, somebody else will take it for you or on your behalf. Time is connected to our policies, and I mentioned that in my paper, because when you look at participation as a way to improve democracy, so it's not only through vote, but it's also through mechanism of participation, this time dimension comes into the picture. It means that participation needs time and needs a process. It's not never ending, so that's also where we explain that participation should follow professional processes, because in order to be able to shape the participation of citizens, make it valuable, understand their votes, or help them to shape the policies together with the public institution, especially at the local level, it needs a certain measure of time. If we don't do that professionally, like through measured consultation, we will definitely lose their participation and their commitment. Because in this case, and I mentioned this, it's also connected to gender. In particular, for example, women or underrepresented groups in the society that are not able to shape their participation will be discriminated. So we need more democracy and not less. We need more participation and not less. And because of this, we need a professional, careful time management. So to be able to engage all of those who are pressed by time, to be able to, through participation, consultation, ways to engage citizens, to be able to have them on board. And that will make the difference.
After that great introduction from Antonella Valmortvida from ALDA, I am pleased now to introduce our speakers for this second part. We are super glad to count on Alessia Mastroleo, public policy expert at the Urban Economy Fashion Design Department of the Milan City Council, and Arnau Monterde, Director of Democratic Innovation from the Barcelona City Council. I will start right away shooting your questions. We are now trying to understand how does time intersect with democracy, and what strategies can urban institutions put in place to promote citizens' participation. What can the case of Milan tell us, Alessia?
Sorry, I forgot to turn on the audio. Good morning, everybody. My name is Alessia. I work for the City Council of Milan as a public policy expert. First of all, I would like to thank you for the kind invitation and for giving us the chance to share our work with such a great audience today. Here is a brief presentation of the policies we put in place over the past years to empower local communities. I'd like to start with from the general commitment of the City of Milan to the 15-minute city concept. Indeed, already in the document setting up the policies to be implemented during the mandate, we read how proximity is one of the key elements of the current city government program, with particular reference to the distribution of functions and services in neighborhoods to make Milan a 15-minute city. In this context, the division I work for, called Urban Economy, Fashion and Design Division, has been working following this general approach in regards to all its areas of competence, which you can find here summarized. In particular, with reference to the urban development at a local neighborhood level, we developed an integrated program for the civil economy. This program included 3 different initiatives: the so-called School of Neighborhoods, the civic crowdfunding, and Me15. I don't call it MI15, otherwise it sounds like some secret service affair. Anyway, MI stands for the abbreviation of Milan, so Me15. The aim of the program was to highlight the role of citizens, their sector organizations, and businesses as civic actors who contribute responsibly to the care of public spaces and towards the needs of residents in their local context. These three calls for proposal that we will see a bit more in details in a minute had in common the eligible area, which was the whole city except the center, here colored in gray. The resources we put in place were those of the Metro program, the national program dedicated to Italian cities, founded with the European Social Fund and the European Regional Development Fund, including the extra budget of the Next Generation EU Fund released during the pandemic. Each call added specific groups who could submit proposals, and the selected projects operate in different areas: learning and play, work and enterprises, cultural activities, outdoor activities, manufacture, reuse and repair, healthy food and shopping, health and well-being, sports and social activities. Here you can see all the 131 projects we founded during the period 2019-2023 with some related data. Just a clarification about Col Lorenteggio, as I didn't mention it before. It was a sort of prequel of Mi15, as the two calls had the same object, but Lorenteggio was confined in the Lorenteggio area. Lorenteggio is the name of the neighborhood in the southwest outskirts of Milan, as you can see from where all green dots are on the map. Now I'll give you a very brief presentation of each of these initiatives of the Program for Civil Economy, starting with the School of Neighborhoods, or Scuola dei Quartieri in Italian. This call was targeted on a group of citizens. It was open to all citizens with no limits of age, nationality, or level of education, with the aim of giving them the leading role in the process of transformation of the city. The aim is to enhance the energy, the creativity, the resourcefulness of the inhabitants, asking them to submit their proposals based on their ideas, needs, and aspirations, following a bottom-up approach. The call did not only distribute non-repayable grants of about 25–30K, but also provided selected projects with personalized coaching, customized advisory services, and peer-to-peer learning, building a school of innovation and social entrepreneurship, allowing the creation of new no-profit organizations. Here an example of a project called Curopoli, one of the most successful we founded. Community care, offering support services for caregivers, along with events and outreach initiatives aiming at promoting a healthy helping relationship through practices and methods that concretely help caregivers taking care of themselves, with a positive impact on both caregivers and the community. The second initiative under the program is called Civic Crowdfunding, and it works with a call for proposals. The selected projects go on a crowdfunding platform, and those who reach their target receive the public contribution on top. The call was open to the third sector organizations as an innovative way to finance projects with a strong social and cultural impact in their local area, following here again a bottom-up approach. The idea is to enable the third sector to use a powerful tool for community building. And again, the call did not only distribute non-repayable grants up to 60K, but also provided selected projects with customized consultancy services on how to build up a crowdfunding campaign. Here, an example of a project called the Kids Parliament, one of my favorite. It was a 2-week full-time free summer camp for children aged 6 to 10, offering a theater workshop. At the end of the summer camp, the kids staged an hypothetical parliamentary session, confronting each other with their wishes and concerns and delivering their declare of rights to some city authorities who assisted the show. The aim was not only to educate them, to articulate their rights and the issues that affects them, but also to teach them that change can occur through small daily actions. The last initiative is called Mi15, Spaces and Services for 15 Minutes Milan. With this call, we put in place a conscious strategy for the construction of the 15-minute city, identifying the enhancement of local services and proximity economy as tools to counteract inequalities and urban vulnerabilities. This strategy aims for the direct involvement of businesses in the creation of the 15-minute city to stimulate economic recovery, revitalize neighborhoods, promote social and occupational strength, and protect local economy. We supported investments by businesses, both profit and non-profit, capable of offering the citizens spaces and services with a social impact currently absent or poor in their neighborhoods. Here again, we distributed grants between 24 and 80K, along with some capacity building services. We established a reward system based on a pay-for-success mechanism linked to the achievement of social impact targets, which involves studying and interpreting the transformations induced by founded businesses and strengthens the capacity of these organizations to induce a positive effect by guiding them in the generation of innovative solutions. We put this system in place with the support of the University Politecnico of Milan. One of the tasks of their team was to provide capacity building services to the businesses in order to empower them, make them aware of their impact, and teach them how to measure it. Each business was supported to identify and measure its own social impact metrics with some KPIs. And those who reached their target were recognized an extra 10% of the public contribution. Here, an example of a project realized by a multifunctional center, one of the hybrid space Mare Culturale Urbano, located on the western outskirts of Milan, with the aim of promoting social inclusion and building a new model of urban regeneration. It is a place for art, concerts, cinema, festivals, and activity for kids. It's a factory for emergent artists and a place for local groups activity, promoting innovative form of participation and active citizenship. The structural intervention affects the central country yard of the ancient farmhouse, where this hybrid space is based, allowing for a year-round use of the space and reducing the acoustic impacts. I believe the time is up, so thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Alessia, for explaining all these super interesting initiatives that Milan has in place to facilitate participation by granting their citizens some time. And now it's over to you. What has Barcelona been doing to facilitate citizens' participations, saving them some time?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me good?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, thank you for to inviting me, and thanks for to be part of this event. And yes, I would like to share our experience developing the Decidim platform, and also the possibility to share our experience. I'm gonna share the screen. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, it's working now.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna try to share with you our experience about this project called Decidim, a digital platform for citizen participation who has a strong relation with the understanding of democracy, and obviously the understanding of time, because at the end this platform wants to contribute to improve and to improve our democracy and to improve the possibility to citizens to be part of the common aspects of the city. Initially, it's important to understand the complex context that we are living in terms of different crises affecting our notion of democracy, a huge advance of the digital technologies, some controversies around the different models of technology that we are developing, and also the impacts that this has on our democracies. But the CDIM, as a project, launched here in the city of Barcelona, and having today an important international impact, wants to answer to this question on what happens between these two models, that we have an active citizens claiming for better democracy and to have more rights, and what happens with this other side, with the representative democracy and the people who is in charge to represent the citizens in our institutions. The city wants to be kind of intermediation inside these two aspects. But what is it? The CDIM. The CDIM is it a digital platform to promote any kind of participatory process, actions, or different ways to be part on the democratic process of governance. At the same time, is an open source project and is a public technology, which means that everybody can see and can reuse and can share the code. We always talk, when we talk about the SIM, we talk about a digital commons in the sense that it is very easy to copy, to use, to modify, and to adapt to the other cities' needs. And also is a democratic process. We have been internalizing the possibility to be part, to do participation in the same project. The design of the platform is built by a huge and important community. And after more than 6 years of the project, the CDIM has increased a lot and has increased their extension, and today is an international reference on citizen participation, running, for example, participatory budgeting in the city of New York, or running the Future of Europe process in the European Commission, or in universities, cities, NGOs, communities, etc. How does it work? Because at the end, the CDIM wants to facilitate different ways to participate and is organized in different aspects. But at the end, the CDIM allows to people and citizens to create proposals, debates, discussions, collect ideas, collect projects, etc. But at the same time, it allows to any kind of organization organize meetings and physical meetings to discuss about different topics according to the needs of the organizations. But also the interesting thing is this hybrid participation between the physical, because you have the call and the place where you have the meeting, but the results of the meeting are connected to the platform and to the flow to participate. Obviously, we have other features like the digital meetings to provide the ways to collaborate in a different aspects. If you are not in the same place, we have been improving the different possibilities to have digital deliberation and other tools that we have in the repertory of participatory actions, like participatory budgeting, ways to have accountability of the execution of the citizen proposals, and everything was as a social network. You have your own profile, you can follow people, you can follow activities, you can be interconnected in a different ways. And also the CDIM allows us to understand in a huge picture what is happening in our cities and what is happening the citizen participation, which topics have been discussed, which are the conflicts, which are the agreements, which are the possibilities, who are missing out and who are missing, who are in the participatory actions, etc. And obviously, we try to adapt to the new technologies and to facilitate the participation through all devices. As I mentioned before, the platform has been developed in a participatory way, and is a public digital infrastructure following this rule of public money, public code, and also this is an example of the success of the collaboration that we start the platform just been translated in 3 languages, Catalan, Spanish, and English, and today is translated to more than 60 languages around the world. And this work has been done by the international community. The governance of the project is a combination between the community work and other public institutions here in Barcelona, in Catalonia, in Spain, and other countries. And also, obviously, it's so important how the community is contributing to the model. Just to focus on the city of Barcelona and to give you some numbers, today we have more than 150 people registered in the platform, and we have collected more than almost 30,000 proposals, a lot of comments. We have documented more than 4,000 meetings, attending all the meetings that has been run on the city to discuss different topics. When we have a strategic planning process, when we have deliberation process, when we have to discuss new regulatory process, we all the time open deliberation spaces, etc. And just to give some examples, one, maybe the most important one, is the participatory budgeting strategy with 30 millions of euros and with the participation of the more than 70,000 people. And now we start to plan the next edition for 2024-2027. We have been running some citizen assemblies by sortition, one with young people and another one with about the climate policies. And we have been running other participatory process like participatory strategic planning of the city, the citizens initiative, or new ways to change the public space for a green transition. As I mentioned before, the CDM is extended to more than 450 institutions and in 30 countries around the world. Here there are some examples in different countries, and just to close, like 3 remarks about our experience on the CDM and time. The first one is the digital participation doesn't want to substitute the physical participation, and on this sense we are building a different models to be part of. When we have just physical participation, we are just providing one way to participate in general meetings at very late in the night, and providing a lot of difficulties to be part of. And having the platform allows to enrich other ways to participate. You can be part creating a proposal, but also creating an endorsement, having a discussion, participating online the meetings, participating physically, participating as organization. We are providing a huge repertoire of ways to participate. The second aspect is the importance of combining the physical and the digital, because we understand that the participation has to be also embodied, and this is a key aspect of participation when we are taking part of the decisions of the city. And the third one is that at the end, improve the ways to be part and to improve the culture of participation, definitely improve our satisfaction when we live in the city, and improve the models to govern our cities. That's all for a moment. Thank you very much.
That was brilliant. Arnau, thanks a lot. I will highlight one of the phrases you said, the aim of your initiative, because I think it's very self-explanatory, right? The aim to improve the possibility of citizens to be part of their own city. I think it's already a great way to describe Decidim. Now, I will ask a question for both of you, which is, what has been the benefits and the challenges that you encounter when you introduced this initiative that you have just shared with us? Alessia, if it's okay, we can start with you again.
Yes, let me share the screen with you. Here we go. Do you see it?
No,
No.
yet.
Yes? Okay, so when we received the invitation to participate in this morning session, we tried to brainstorm around the connection between this strategy of supporting the civil economy I was talking about earlier and the theme of better organization of the city timing and schedules in relation to democracy and civic participation. Here, the ideas that came up. First of all, we deliver policies to reduce time travel and to change the way of transport, supporting projects on cycling and innovative logistics solutions. Just to give you an example, we are very proud to have supported the launch of Sode, social delivery, a Milan-based startup that proposes a new model of eco-friendly and sustainable home delivery. They entrust the delivery service to a fleet of cargo bikes operated by people with marginalized backgrounds, ethically contracted, properly trained and equipped. We are working on the revitalization of the urban environment, supporting projects to guarantee safety, strengthen local identity and social cohesion in neighborhoods. Still within the realm of civil economy, we have supported numerous services related to education, care, community building and sports, which certainly promote reconciliation, work-life balance, but often prompt a reflection not only on time saved, but also on the quality of time, particularly collaborative time. Finally, while we are discussing people's time, there's also an environmental urgency linked to extending the life circle of urban resources before they become a waste. We have financed activities aimed at repairing, recovering, and reusing products and waste within the city. So thanks to these considerations and the study and elaboration process lasting over a year, we took time to recap what we've been doing so far. We studied what other cities are doing, what the European Commission is working on, and we came up with a 3-year program for the proximity economy. The idea is to employ all available resources toward a single goal. We define the proximity economy as an economy rooted in places and based on the relationships among people, institutions, and businesses that inhabit them. So it's very connected with the space, but also with time. We came up with 8 lines of intervention. We define 8 lines of intervention, which cover all different areas of competence of the division, those I showed you at the beginning of my previous presentation. Now, we don't have time, obviously, to cover the full plan, but I'll focus on the 2 lines of intervention that represent the continuation of the initiatives described so far, which are local partnerships and civil economy. This line of intervention aims to financially support the creation or enhancement of networks, agreements, and alliances between local businesses and other stakeholders on a micro-local scale for the for the development of the specific portion of the city, like a street, a square, or an entire neighborhood. To provide financial support and promote the development of alliances among local economic operators, we will use again the civic crowdfunding. Over the course of 3 years, the activity will be carried out in collaboration with local authorities, the so-called municipi, and trade associations, aiming to find 25 projects and raise $500,000 through donations. Here with the line F, civil economy, our support to the so-called civil economy goes on. Over the period 2024-2027, grants will be provided to support new non-profit organization active in neighborhoods with training and support services for the first year of activity, as well as contributions to investments to micro and small profit or non-profit enterprises to establish spaces, services, and activities with social impact, as we did before. We are currently working on the new School of Neighbors and MI15 calls for proposal. Hopefully, we'll be able to publish both of them by the end of May. They will both stay open for a year and a half with periodic evaluation processes to select the projects. Moreover, we have now dedicated a team to orientate and facilitate the application of those interested. And the intervention will be completed by actions to promote collaboration and interactions among the new projects and the projects founded up until now in the past. Thanks again for your attention, and I leave the floor to Arnaud.
Thank you, Alessia. Arnau, a part of the benefits and challenges, there are some questions about the sustainability of this kind of projects. Also, if you can add about how can we make sure this is not something that is temporary thing, but we can make a long-term impact on our society, I would appreciate that. Please be super brief, 2 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, definitely this is a key aspect. I think that we have to guarantee the regulation, definitely to provide this kind of ways of participation, and also the conditions of community. And it's attending to that one, 3 reflections attending the challenges on time policies, especially with the question of democracy. The first thing is when we are trying to involve the citizens in a different ways, provides a flexibility to be part of, but this is important how we are building in a different ways this kind of a strong community. This means that flexibility doesn't mean to have less quality participation. It's in other side. We are providing flexibility in the terms to enrich the ways to be part of. This is the first idea. The second idea is that we need to include the collective intelligence and the possibility of the knowledge of the citizen that they have about the city in our everyday life public policies, because it's the only way to improve the political policies. At the end, if we want to have like more time to live, we have to reduce the time that we are working, and also we have more time to invest in our common aspects, to liberate time for life. It means also to have time to be part of our common aspects. And the third thing, that this is in a general reflection for all the public policies, but also for the policies of the uses of time, is that we have to include the citizen participation and the design of this kind of policies. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Arnau. We are receiving a question from the audience, from the chat, that maybe you can explain on, but I'm not sure if I understand right the question. I will just read it, and Arnau, this is a question addressed to you, so maybe you will get it better than I do. What about the right to the right time? I mean, did you already experience conflicted interests between the different chronotypes, like early, day, and light types of the social clock?
Yes, this is a very good question, and this is why we are trying to provide and cover all the different possibilities, because we know that when we decide to add a new layer of participation, which is the digital ones, is only to just to provide alternative, because, for example, all the councils of participation in the city were at the evening, at the late evening, around 7 or 8 in the night, which is very difficult to be part if you have, for example, if you have kids or whatever that you have on your everyday life. And this is why we are trying to provide other ways in not just in the real time, but also providing this asynchronic participation that you can provide not only on the right moment, but you can be part on a period of time, which are trying to cover all the different possibilities to be part.
That's brilliant. And now, thank you both. As we've been running a little bit late during this session, we will have to close now the Q&A section, but hopefully we will receive more in the chat and move forward them to you. I would just like to thank you both again for your takes, as they were quite on spot. And you have offered very key insights into how time and democracy intertwine. So thanks for that, Alessia and Arnau, and until next time. And now, as we draw to a close, I would like to, of course, extend my gratitude to all the speakers for their participation, because I'm sure they all undoubtedly resonate with our audience and inspire everyone. I would like to invite now Marina Lafay, the counselor from Strasbourg, representing the World Capital of Time Policies of 2024, to share her closing remarks.
Thank you very much. So, yes, it's a big pleasure to conclude a challenge also. I would like to say that the question of the night was one of the first major issues in temporal time policies, but the question of democracy is also very crucial in the era of populism and fake news today. For instance, we know that when people do not benefit from local services, they lost time and they don't have enough time to participate in the local democracy. But in the same time, they feel like they are forgotten, they feel like they are not heard. And that's why the logic of equity and the 15-minute city, which was presented, is very important. I think it's a very fundamental element to combine participatory and good offer of services, especially for women and especially mothers of young children who will suffer from inequalities for homework. And I think it's a big challenge today. There is also a link and data about that. For instance, I'm thinking about a researcher in France, Hervé Lebras, is a socio-demographic researcher, and he proves the links between the lack of services and the abstention and the support of extreme parties. So that is very important, I think, to think about democracy and time. And now I want to make the link between night and democratic and speak also more about time policies. It seems to me that with global warming, the night will be invested with new uses, and we must no longer see night as just as problem with nuisances, for instance, but also as opportunities. One of the opportunities is that the night questions the day, in particular inequalities, even for genders issue, for the question of poverty also. For instance, do we have enough water points or toilets at night? Or do we have place where we can go for help if we have problem of insecurity, of if we are harassed or attacked? If we don't have enough at time, it's also likely to show us that we don't have in general, including during the day. So I think the problems of the night shed light on the problem of the day oftenly, and it is an opportunity to design a public space that's better shared and more democratic. It's also, I think, a formidable subject in terms of management, in my opinion. I have explained it for Strasbourg because it is a subject that is often overlooked and forgotten. It doesn't really belong to a city department. In this case, no one is deprived of their expertise. So it's a good laboratory for working on more systemic projects. And it seems to me that this systemic and holistic approach is needed to meet today's ecological challenges. And so the night can be also an opportunity. It's also very relevant for international relations. And so Barcelona has shown us in the last presentation, because tomorrow's climate change is also a big problem for our city. We have perhaps to take inspiration to show how it works in Northern Africa, for instance, in the south of the world. We need to look to countries further south to understand how they have adapted their cities and daily life and services and draw inspiration from them. And for instance, Luc Gazinski is a French geographer who works about night. He recently sent me a call for proposal for coming workshop in Fes in Morocco about night policies. So it's very interesting to know that studies on the night are developing at the moment in southern area. There is a revival of the subject, perhaps a third generation. Marta speak about a second generation. I think it's perhaps now the third generation because night provide us issues that we need to anticipate. In this goal, the European and worldwide time use initiative network is very, very important and bring us value. And that's why also I invite you to follow it and take part because cities need to go to work together to find a new solution so that different uses can peacefully coexist in our city, keeping them livable and comfortable day to day and in all seasons. So we can perhaps imagine our cities exchanging expertise via exploratory trips to learn from each other. It's also one of the projects of our European project. In Time for All, this European project that we conduct, we want to organize field visits based on concrete proposal. So as part of the World Time Capital, Strasbourg is also World Capital of Time for 2024. We want to organize a number of events in Strasbourg up to March 2025 with a focus, for instance, on care time issues and care services. It will be in November in Parliament, but probably also at the end in March 2024, a big night event, a big focus on night policies. So thank you very much for your excellent presentation. It is very impressive, and it brings us a good inspiration. And thank you for that.
Thank you, Marina, for these final concluding words. I think we have a great challenge ahead and an opportunity as well, trying to governing our nights and fostering our democracies. As you were just saying, from the Time Use Initiative, we are happy to work together towards a healthier, more sustainable, more efficient, and more equal society. Thank you all for participating in this session. Just a quick note and advertisement. Next June, we're going to host our summer school on time, the first European training program on time policies, with an online section open to citizens and organizations that will take place between the 10th and the 12th of June. We will discuss different issues relating time and health and time and the labor reduction. Check the whole program on our website, as well as you can check these two publications presented today there. And with that, I declare this session officially closed. Thank you all for your time. Until next time.